G'day guys, welcome back. Doing something a little bit different today, another little experiment with my Mont Marte Acrylic paints. So this particular ring pour that I'm going to do today, I've only ever done with Liquitex Basics. But you know, they're expensive for a little tube like that. It's probably half the price of a big bottle. So I'm going to see, I haven't done it before, I'm going to see how it goes. So it's the ring pour that Sarah Mac does, you know, with the Floetrol and the Artist Loft Flow Acrylic for the background. So that one. I haven't done one for quite a while. So as I said, I'm going to have a go with the Studio Acrylics and see how that works. So for my background here and the white between my layers, I'm using equal parts white paint, which is 2 parts Flow Acrylic, 1 part satin enamel. So I did 80 grams of this, 40 grams of that, which is 120 grams, and then I did 120 grams of the Australian Floetrol. This is thinner than the American Floetrol. I think Sarah does 2 to 1, but hers is much thicker. Or is it the other way around? I don't know. Maybe hers is thinner? I'm just trying, I can't remember. Anyway, that's the white. So a little bit of satin enamel in there will give us kind of a cloudy effect. All the Mont Marte acrylics have been mixed 1.5 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint. So that's 60 grams of the Floetrol, which I'm calling pouring medium, to 45 grams of paint. The purple I had to do 1 to 1 because it was thinner. And then the gold, because the gold's quite thin, I have to use 2 parts Floetrol to 1 part gold, and that's the Extreme Sheen 24K. So that has got a whole bottle, which is 60 grams of paint to 30 grams of pouring medium. So 2 ounces of paint to 1 ounce of Floetrol. I'm just trying to think, is ours thicker or is theirs thicker, the Floetrol? So if Sarah does 2 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint, and I do equal parts Floetrol to paint, oh, mine must be thicker. I don't know. If you guys know, if you've got both, let me know which is thicker. Right, so I'm going to start layering. I'm going to keep some white for my puddle, and I'm just going to start layering. So I've got some navy here. Not sure how many layers I'll get. Hopefully I'll get 3 layers. But I want a nice dark blue center. So I'll put some blue down first and then a little bit of the white. I find the white is quite reactive, so I only tend to use half the amount of white as I do with the other colors. And same with the metallic, it's really quite reactive. So I'll do a few colors and then I'll put some white down and then a few more colors and then some white. And a bit of extra gold in there as well between some of them. Don't need a lot, but it kind of globs out. Feels thick, but I find that I have to make it thick. I made up a little bit extra of the navy because I really like the navy, so there's a little bit of extra of that. Now I put the gold next to the white last time, so I won't do that again. I'll put it next to the blue. So just change it up a little bit. I don't know what the green and pink are going to do. Let's put purple next, and then some more white. Better not use up all my white. I had to save some, but there is a big cup of it there. And I'm just changing everything up a little bit here. Should have enough paint for one more layer. just going to keep going basically until I've filled up my jug here. Probably won't use all of it by the looks of it because I'm not going to fit it all in. I'll finish off that beautiful dark green. This is a teal, which I made myself. Got the regular turquoise, purple, magenta, phthalo blue, the gold, and the navy is just phthalo blue with a blob of black in it. And I don't think I'll put the white on the edge. I don't like the white on the outside. I'd prefer just to keep the navy on the outside. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. It's obviously all I can fit into my little jug at the moment. So that's probably, that'd be about 700 mils in there. It's a 2-cup jug, which is 500 mils, but it is fuller than that, so it's actually holding more. So I'd say 700, maybe even a little bit more. Now I'm just going to put a puddle down, and then I want to keep some of this paint for my edges. Okay, my gosh, I'm feeling a bit nervous. It's been so long since I've done this. Now I tend to do jiggle pours, so we'll see what happens. I might start with a straight pour and then end with the jiggle. We'll see what happens. Let's see if I can turn this way a little bit so you can see what's coming out of the cup. And I'm going to do a jiggle. I like the jiggles, and I'm going to get as close as I can to the surface so that I can keep my shapes. My little fingerlings and things. Because if you're up too high, they kind of wobble and you get that little wobbly look. Whereas if you can get nice and close, you do get a better outcome, I've found. Look at that white. Hopefully it's going to make us some little cloudies. Okay, so now that the paint's getting less and less in the jug, I need to get closer again so it doesn't go wobbly. Because I like to have that fold. Can you see how the paint's just folding over on top of itself? That's what I like it to do. I don't like it to be too wobbly. So it'll be interesting to see how this paint turns out. I wasn't quite sure about the consistency because when I did the Liquitex Basics, I did 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part Liquitex. But Liquitex is much thicker. I tried one, well, when I made up my turquoise, I made it 1 to 1. No, 2 to 1. 2 to 1. And it was too thin. Oh my gosh. Come back. That's looking pretty. Now then, we'll just pour this white around. Just as our little flow enhancer to make the paint flow over the top nice and easily. That way it helps keep our shapes that we've created in our little pour there, our jiggle pour or a straight pour or whatever pour you want to do. This white paint just helps all of that move across the canvas nicely. So I'm just going to give that a quick torch while it's sitting there. Oh, love that. Look at that. Excuse me. Popping bubbles. It looks as if, touch wood, I don't want to say too early, but it looks as if the Mont Marte paint might work. And as I said, this is my first time trying this. So it's at 1 to 1, 1.5 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. So I did make it thicker. So hopefully it's thick enough. If it's not thick enough, what's going to happen is once I start tilting, everything's going to wobble out of shape. And it's going to start going a little bit ziggy-zaggy. And then I'll know that that's a little bit too thin. and then I may actually have to go 1 to 1, but I really don't think so. I think 1 to 1 is going to be way too thick. I'm getting a nice mound on these. Actually, should I show you while that's just sitting there? You get back in the middle there. Aren't you running off just yet? What can I show you on? The pink, maybe. The magenta. Oh, I've got some left. I'll just climb up and see if I can show you the consistency. Can you see in there, or is it too much of a shadow? Maybe if I try and keep my hand away. So it's leaving a mound. Like that. Alright, you can't really see a lot of the pink. There's little bits of it showing through here. As always, the gold just takes over. Right. This is my favourite spot here. So I'm going to go that way first. I don't know why. Maybe because I've got the most amount of paint that I'm going to have. I want to keep that blue. And back again to the middle. Oh, it's flowing a bit fast. It is flowing a bit fast. But then I have got a lot of paint on here. So I'm heading in that direction. So we'll just keep going in that direction. Stretch it out. Look at all the gold. Plenty of paint. Back to the middle. Might even have had too much paint. If you've got too much paint, you can't really stretch your design out enough because you've gone over the corner and then that's it, hey? You're done. So you can't really stretch it out anymore. But if you don't have enough paint, then you overstretch everything. Back to the middle and off we go. You can see where the paint's flowing, the weight of the paint is. I'll try and keep that blue, so I'll go off that way a little bit more. Okay, let me just look at that for a minute. Wow, that magenta's poking through lovely now. I might take some more off. I might actually take some of that off the corner there if I can. What do you think? Just open up this bottom bit because it's quite plain up there. It's a lot of gold and a lot of white. Let's just take it back to there. What was your center does not have to stay your center. Don't think that you have to keep it that way. By all means, move your center around. I think it's quite interesting if you do have your middle off center. You kind of either have to have it right in the middle or you have it off center. If it's sort of a little bit off center, everyone goes, oh, shouldn't that be in the middle? All right. What do you think? I did have a lot of paint, didn't I? I'm not going to move it anymore. I'm just going to run my little tool underneath to catch the drips. I am feeling that maybe it's a little bit on the thin side. The paint just really moved really easily. So I may even try 1 to 1. Because you want your paint to move slowly and for your design to stay intact. But we'll see, we'll see. I mean, I've got some beautiful fingerlings there. Just trying to match my colours here. some of that dark greeny blue. Yep, you'll do. Put your little tool up the top, dump your paint, and then let it run down on its own so that it makes that little line effect, so it kind of matches in. You don't want to rub it in. It'll just go all blurry and muddy. Just let it run down on its own and make its own little pattern. I think that's it, isn't it? Can't see that corner. All right, let me look at it. Gorgeous fingerlings as usual. And that magenta in there is really, really pretty. I would have liked my navy to be a little bit more navy. Probably shouldn't have put the white next to the navy, you know, because it's given that haze over the top. I'll remember that next time. Go navy, gold, then white. So I don't get that haze. I'll get a more stark navy there. Right, let's give it a quick torch. Oh, it's so shiny. As I walk across, I can see it shining here. Mermaid colours. It does look like a mermaid. All right, let me take you down for a close-up so you can see all the beautiful colours in the shimmer shimmer. Just do that for a minute, or a few seconds anyway, and then I'll take you down. Oh, I love that turquoise in the bottom there, that bottom left. So good. Okay. Down we go. Courier's just pulled up outside. Hope he doesn't knock on the door. Hope he just leaves my parcel. The dogs are in here. They've heard him. I'll just pause it. Okay, Posty's gone. This is my favourite spot. I'll have to look back on the video and see what colours I put next to each other there. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Turquoises and blue. And then the gold with the magenta. How pretty is that? Let me see if I can get it to... Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa. Was that the shimmer? Was there a bit of a shimmer there? Shimmer, shimmer? Yeah, a little bit. It's so hard to pick up. All right, let's come around here. So this is what I mean about the fingerlings. So if you do a jiggle, when you pour the paint out of your cup or jug or whatever you're using, if you have a jiggle where the paint folds back on top of itself, you get these fingerlings. I like to call them fingerlings. They kind of look like fingers, stumpy little fingers, eh? You still will get it with just a straight pour, but they might not be quite as exaggerated. They might be a little bit thinner. So it depends what you like. You can just do a straight pour and not have so, well, the fingerlings won't be so pronounced, I guess. Now, I am wondering if my paint was a little bit on the thin side. See how it's kind of got a little bit blurry there? Well, not blurry, but just kind of going a little bit ziggy-zaggy. So I think I will try it again with a thicker mix. I mean, these Mont Marte paints are much thinner than the Liquitex Basics, and I did them 2 to 1. So I might just have to thicken these up a little bit. Doesn't that remind you of Mermaid? Let's see if I can get that gold. Oh, there it is. So once it's dried, it's going to take like 5 days to dry, but I'll show you the dry product once it's done, and hopefully we'll see the shimmer. All right. Oh, there's a bit of shimmer. Shimmer, shimmer. Love it. So I'm so glad that that works, the Mont Marte, because it's so much cheaper than the Liquitex Basics. All right. And I will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Have a go. Yeah, the the paints do need to be nice and thick and quite highly pigmented to hold their shape in this particular type of pour. But you can have a play with paints that you've got and show me. Yep. You can join my Facebook group, Pouring Your Heart Out with Julie Cuts. And yeah, please remember to like and subscribe and hit the little notification bell. Sometimes they don't work, so you kind of have to go over and hit them again, make sure that they're all working, your little bells. Okay, I'll see you real soon for the next one, okay? Bye for now.